Yesterday, Tradewind's viewer named Sherman 1862, I think that's a reference to the Union General Civil War, Tecumseh Sherman, 1862, he left a comment on one of the videos, and the comment wasn't long. It wasn't complicated. He just wrote out three ticker symbols. It was he wrote out Keel, Keel, which I'd never heard of before. Clean Spark, CLSK, which we've traded in the past, and Hive, HIVE. I hadn't heard of Hive either. And that's it. No explanation, no sales pitch, no 10-page research report, no PhD dissertation, just three tickers. So I checked those names last night and again this morning. They looked really good. And, I laid a little bit of scratch on each of them. And what I found was pretty interesting. All three of them have been attracting attention. They've all three moved higher today, and all three are connected to a theme that Wall Street can't stop talking about right now, which is AI. And before we go any further, I got to be clear. I'm not endorsing any stock at all. This is not financial advice. And Sherman 1862 is not responsible for anyone's portfolio. But I do think his comment points us towards something worth discussing. And start with HIVE, HIVE. Many investors still think HIVE primarily as a cryptocurrency company. But increasingly, companies like HIVE are talking about high performance computing, AI workloads, and data center infrastructure. It's kind of like IREN all over again, right? But with HIVE. In other words, some investors are starting to view these companies as part of the broader AI infrastructure story. The next is CleanSpark. I remember trading CleanSpark last spring, summer, and things were fine, made a bit, nothing really to write home about. And then you just kind of, move on to something else. I haven't touched CleanSpark in a long time, but I'm glad I got some today, right? And a lot of people associate CleanSpark with Bitcoin mining, CLSK, right? But the market has started rewarding businesses that own energy assets, computing infrastructure, and facilities that may become increasingly valuable as AI demand grows. And then there's Keel, Keel, a newer name that a lot of investors probably don't know yet. I'd never seen it. The company's focused on infrastructure and energy assets associated with AI and high performance computing. And that brings us to another name that, many of you have been investing in it for a long time, and that's IREN, IREN. I remember when that thing was $6 a share, and I saw it. I saw it moving a little bit, whatever. I didn't pay much attention to it. Should have loaded the truck, of course, right? But you just don't know. You don't know back then when you're just being introduced to something. You have no way of predicting what the future is going to hold, right? And I think earlier today, Iran announced a massive financing agreement connected to its AI data center expansion efforts. So suddenly investors are paying attention to Iran also. So when investors start connecting these companies together, something interesting starts to happen. A theme starts to form, just like we saw with space stocks the last 2 weeks, which kind of, price correction today. But the market nonetheless does love themes. Sometimes it loves them too much, but themes are how large amounts of capital move through the market. Electric vehicles, EV, AI, cloud computing, space stocks, cryptocurrency, cybersecurity. And and now AI infrastructure, the actual picks and shovels. So what investors appear to be asking is who will own the power? Who will own the land? Who is going to own the data centers? And who's going to own the computing capacity needed to support the next generation of AI? These questions may become increasingly important over the next several years. Does that mean that every AI infrastructure stock is a winner? Of course not. Many are going to succeed, some are going to struggle, and some are going to disappear, as usual. But simply how, emerging industries work is it's pretty interesting to sit and watch. But what caught my attention today wasn't just the stocks; it was the comment, because sometimes the market's best ideas don't come from Wall Street or the newspapers or anything like that. Sometimes the best ideas come from ordinary investors who are paying attention. Their radar's up and they're saying, hey, by the way, take a peek at this. So a quick thank you to Sherman 1862 for putting those names on our comment section, and everybody else watching, keep the comments coming. I read them, not every day. I don't get to it, but every couple of days, every 3 days, I read those things. You never know the source of your next great investing idea, right? You never know. You never know where it may come from. So anyhow, give us a like, add a comment, subscribe if you like this content, and check out the website. It's jackcarterbooks.com, and I'll see you next time.